Okay, we're going to talk about breakups. Someone who's in Unicult messaged me. They said they've been in this relationship, but they had to break up, and it seemed rational, but they were still hurt. And can we please do a topic on breakups? I have a few different videos that do kind of address this, but I haven't actually addressed this directly. So when we talk about breakups, I think the best place to start is like to feel your feelings. When you break up with somebody and you go through a big relationship change, the thing with breakups is that it's not mutual sometimes, right? Or even if it is, it's like usually just one-sided at least a little bit. So one person usually wants it a little bit more than the other person. And if you're the person who's getting broken up with, you can feel kind of blindsided and like, that sucks. So it's okay to feel all your feelings, even if you're the person breaking up with somebody else. How do you feel when that happens? And instead of just trying to like get over it or move on or just be past it or just be like, I'm fine, you know, really, it's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to like feel into these feelings that you have about, you know, your nostalgia, about how this person has affected you, about how this person has changed you. It's okay to feel your bitterness. It's okay to feel your sadness. It's okay to feel your loneliness. It's okay to feel the injustice of the situation. I think that's something that I've felt in relationships when they've ended. I've just felt the injustice of me having to put as much as I possibly can into it. So when we think about what it means to get over something or to move on from a breakup, acknowledging and feeling your feelings and allowing for them and knowing that they're valid is really the first place. Does that mean that you call them up and cuss them out? Does it mean that you show up to their house and demand to know who they're dating now? No. You know, your internal world and your actions can be separate. You can be a peaceful, loving person on the outside at the same time as feeling your feelings. Does that mean that you should just put up with someone who's constantly abusing you, trying to use you for sex, trying to drag it on, trying to keep the relationship going in the sense where they're getting what they can from you while not giving you what you truly need? No. You also need to learn how to have boundaries. So I think sometimes what I would say for most times when a relationship ends is that it's really healthy to take, and this is easier said than done, it's really important to take a space of a certain amount of time as a boundary to say, okay, well, I just need to take some time away from the situation, because it's very hard to break old patterns of relating to someone. It's very hard to break old patterns of, well, this feels good. So let's say that you break up with someone and you're like, well, I don't want to be with them anymore, but this part feels good. And then you keep doing that part, but then to the other person, that's leading them on, you know, or that's making them feel like that you're going to get back together or something. That happens all the time. So I think it's very important to feel all your feelings and take a little moment with yourself, whether it be a week or a month, to be like, I just need a little bit of space to feel my feelings and to reset my relationship with you and to reset my expectations of our relationship. If you are in a position where someone keeps coming back to you, breaks up with you, then gets back together with you, or calls you up for sex, it's hurting you and it's depleting your energy, then you need to have a boundary for that. And that's something that you need to create. Because this other person, maybe they're not trying to be evil, maybe they're not trying to make you feel bad, they're just trying to get what makes them feel good with maybe disregarding your feelings or maybe not understanding your feelings. So it's up to you to set that boundary and to say, I need some time, I need some space to reset my expectation of this relationship. So the main part of this sermon is about this aspect of how we view relationships. And what that means is that there's different aspects of relating to people. We have the language and the words of what it means to be friends. We have the language and understanding of what it means to be dating. We have the language and understanding of what it means to be married. We have all of these boxes. These are pre-constructed boxes that society gives us that we put on to ourselves. So if you're with somebody, you're dating them casually, and you say, like, do you want to go steady? Do you want to be exclusive? Do you want to take this to the next level? Whatever your language is, there is an aspect of you both agreeing to fit into a pre-established box of expectations. If you're dating someone seriously, if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, 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 joyfriend, whatever, and you decide to be in that relationship together and you don't communicate about what that means, two people might have very different expectations of what that means. And depending on what language you're using and what expectations you have, each person might come into that understanding with a completely different understanding of what it means to be a boyfriend or girlfriend or a partner or whatever. And you might be let down or disappointed. When we talk, this is becoming more complicated now because we have more options than what used to be socially accepted. We have polyamory as an option, where a lot of people are choosing that. We have open relationships. We have monogamous relationships. We have people who have the goal of having kids. We have people who have the goal of just not being alone. People who want to get married. We have people with different goals. It used to be everyone had the same goal by societal standards. You get into a relationship, you go steady, you get married, you have kids, you stay together forever. That used to be the goal. That used to be the box that everybody tried to fit into. Obviously, not everyone can fit into that box, and a lot of people who tried didn't succeed because it wasn't right for them, because they were trying to fit into a societal expectation of what it meant to be happy, of what it meant to be in a relationship. And now we have so many more examples of relationships. And when I'm talking about these things, it does relate in the larger sense, because I'm going to teach you a way of looking at relationships that is going to radically transform your understanding of what it means to relate to somebody else. So when you're talking about how you understand, like think about you as a person. If you look at yourself from the higher level and you see how you relate to and understand your relationship with other people, you say, well, I'm this person's child. Well, I'm this person's sibling. Well, I'm this person's lover. Well, I'm this person's friend. And you see, when you look at it from this higher perspective, you see these are the boxes that you've created around these relationships. And you operate not only through the relationship that you actually have with that person, with that soul, but you see that you're operating under a social construct of what it means to behave in that relationship, of what that relationship entails and what the expectations are. Really easy to understand when we look at a parent-child relationship. There's a lot of social expectations for what that means to be in a parent-child relationship. If you happen to have a parent who is maybe not a great parent by societal standards, but they still gave birth to you, or they still are your parent, then you might have to reframe your understanding for what that relationship looks like. And you might have to just break free of the societal expectations and meet that person on a soul level. This is true for all relationships. And when you start to let go of, and you start to see the reality that you are operating within a system of a program of how to relate to people, and a lot of times it's very fear-based, a lot of times it's very insecurity-based. Usually when it means to go steady with someone, it means that you want to control their behavior in a way, and that behavior is, there's an expectation of behavior that you're assuming that this person will offer, and a lot of times people can't offer that. Sometimes people lie, sometimes people cheat, sometimes people break up with you, sometimes people don't text you back. Whatever it is, these things are, we can get mad and we can say, well, they're not being a good boyfriend, or they're not being a good partner. Or we can look at it and be like, how can I see this person on a soul level? How can I see just me and this other person as souls on earth? The more you can have this higher understanding reality that's outside of social expectation, the more empathy you can have for other people, and the more stronger you can have boundaries for yourself. If you see somebody who's treating you in a way that you think is okay for a boyfriend to treat a girlfriend, let's say, but you're not happy, but it checks all the societal boxes, and you're like, well, I'm not happy, but I'm in this perfect relationship on paper, then it's not a perfect relationship. You have to look at it from your soul, from how you relate to this person on a soul level. And from this place, when you see without these boxes of definitions of words and of labels, you begin to see that relationships never end. And this is kind of an insane reality to step into. But when you look at things without labels, and you look at the people who you have loved in your life, let's say you're with someone for 5 years, and at the beginning of your relationship, it's very passionate. The middle of your relationship, it's like, it's okay. And at the end of your relationship, it's bad. And then you guys break up, and then you're just friends, or you never talk again, right? So you can say, well, normally you would say, well, I dated this person for 5 years. Now we're just friends, because you're putting these things into boxes. But what I just described is not that. I described multiple levels of a type of relationship that you had with this person over time. When you wake up every day and you feel a certain way for somebody, and they feel a certain way for you, and you have a connection or not, that is your real relationship. It changes every single day. It changes every single week. Your relationship is much more flexible and much more eternal than what we believe to be true. We believe, oh, my relationship ended. The only thing that really ended was your expectation of that person and their expectation of you. Your actual relationship, how you feel about each other, maybe the action of changing the definition of ending it on, social ground makes you feel different, and it changes how you relate to somebody. It closes your heart off, or it makes you hurt. And that has an effect on your actual soul relationship. But when you're talking about your actual relationship with somebody, it doesn't end. There's no ability to end it, even if you don't talk to somebody. As long as your memory isn't wiped of them and their memory isn't wiped of you, like Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind or something. And even that movie argues that relationships keep going on after even that. Unless that happens, then you both still are relating to each other somehow. And we carry the information that people teach us. We carry senses of humors, jokes, vocabulary, ideas, information, words. All of these things we learn, we gain, we grow from all the people we know. So when you're going through a breakup, feel your feelings. And then look at it beyond this weird social understanding of my relationship. I'm in a relationship. I am not in a relationship. This is a very radical thing I'm telling you to try. This is beyond anything that I've ever heard anybody else talk about. And it's going to blow your mind in the sense of how you see Earth, how you see relating to people. When you see your boss as a person and not just your boss, when you see your partner as a soul and not just your partner, how does it change how you treat them? How does it change where you're coming from in your heart, in your soul-based reality? So practice seeing that kind of thing. And then when you're ready to move on and you're ready to change, so you've changed the structure of your relationship, you've changed the agreement. So they've said, I don't want to date you anymore. Or they've said, I don't want to date you anymore, but I want to keep having sex with you. And that hurts you and you want to go back to before. You have to acknowledge from the highest possible level what is good for all. When we talk about all one, we understand that what is good for us, what is truly good for us, is truly good for everyone. And when we think, this is something that I think is really beneficial to understand. When you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't really want to be with you, if you're in a relationship with someone who's half in, half out, if you're in a relationship with somebody who feels like they kind of want to break up with you, but they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they break up with you and they come back because they feel bad, or they break up with you and they just want to have sex with you, we have to understand that they are, I forgot. I really built that up. Hang on. Whoa. Hang on. Oh, okay. It's not good for you. It's not truly good for you. So if someone is not actually interested in dating you all the way, and you want them to date you, you are trying to get them to do something that is not in alignment. You are trying to get them to do something that is not true. It's not real. If you want to be in a fake relationship where you want someone to pretend to like you more than they like you, you want someone to text you back who's not texting you back, even though they don't want to, even though they're not motivated on their own to, you're not acknowledging the reality of the situation. And you're living in a fantasy world that is probably not actually beneficial because you're clinging to an idea of reality that is not real. It's based on a lie. If there is someone who isn't really that into you and you want them, what do you want? You want them to pretend to like you? You want them to really like you? That's not real. They don't. That's really harsh and really hard to hear. I hate when that happens to me. It does. It does. And when you can really take the higher level understanding that it's not in alignment. Both people have to be hype about it. Both people have to be like on the same page, truly and authentically, in order for the relationship to be based in reality. So try to see the truth of your relationship with people. Don't just say, well, we should fill these boxes. We should fill this reality. That's just part of seeing the higher picture. Really face that truth, because when you're with somebody who really wants to be with you, that's going to make all the difference. That's going to be a real connection. Is it more worth saving your marriage of 12 years when you're not happy than it is to be in a relationship that's truly fulfilling with someone else later down the road? What's more important to your soul? What's more important to your day-to-day energy? I'm not just saying give up on all relationships. There are things that you can do to make your relationships good and better, and you can learn to grow together and communicate. That's all true. But if there's a situation that's obviously not a good situation and it's obviously not going to get better, what are you doing? So once you feel your feelings, you allow yourself to feel sad and bad and mad and bitter and whatever else, take your boundaries, take your time to process this understanding. See the relationship from the highest way of being. See the truth of your connection with this person. Does this person deserve your love? Probably not, right? If you are giving your heart to someone and they don't actually want it, then it's not right. It's not right. And then it's about moving on. And how do you move on? How does it feel right for you to move on? For some people, they need to be alone for a while. They need to just dance alone in their room and smoke weed and eat chocolate, whatever. For some people, they want to go out. They want to party. They want to hit on people. For some people, they want to have hookups with people. Some people want to get in a relationship right away. Whatever works for you, that's okay, but acknowledge that that's part of your breakup. You know, if you jump into a new relationship right away after being in a pretty serious relationship, you have to acknowledge that that's part of your breakup, that action might have been at least partially dictated by, the rebound nature. Dara says, when you break up with somebody, it seems like the world will end. Then a few months go by and you actually start to like it. It's true. When I was younger and I would go through breakups, I would cry all night. It would be horrible. And I would feel so bad. I'd feel horrible. But then, you get to the point where you're like, I want to make sure that everyone is happy. If I truly love somebody, I want them to be happy. If they're not happy with me, then I want them to be happy not with me. And you can't control other people's behavior, nor should you want to. If someone is treating you badly, and this goes back to our call today about somebody who's trying to just have sex with you and not be with you, then you can't control that person's behavior. You can't control their feelings. You can't control their energy. So you have to let them go. If that action, if that situation is hurting you, you deserve better. You deserve someone who's going to meet you on those levels. So you have to set the boundary there and say, we're broken up. We can't sleep together. It sucks because I really love you and I want to be with you, but you don't want to be with me in the way that I want to be with you. And sometimes maybe, hey, maybe you set that boundary. You say, I'm not going to sleep with you. I deserve to be in a full relationship like we were before, and I'm going to find somebody else. Well, maybe that'll make the other person come around. You don't know. And if they don't, then it's not right. So really what I'm trying to get you guys to understand is that it's all in the divine plan. Relationships start, they end, it happens. We all want to believe in the fairy tale reality of finding somebody and staying with them. And I have worked so hard to make that reality true. I wanted to be that person to prove that freaking fairy tale. I have wanted to be that person, but it has not been in my cards. No matter what I have done, no matter how hard I have tried to make that reality true, it has not happened. So I have to understand that my life already, this situation is a fairy tale, that I am meeting people that I need to meet, that I'm loving them, that I'm in these relationships with people, these intense relationships where I give my all, that is the most divine possible thing for everyone involved. And it's divine that it ends because I see how much I grow. I see how much there is beyond that situation. It's divine that I met them. I don't ever feel like I wish I had not been in a relationship because I learn so much from everyone who I'm intimate with, who I'm close with. I value each person and I love them eternally. I see beyond the labels of breaking up or being together or whatever. I love them eternally. Yes, I still have different conditions around each of those relationships. I have different expectations. But I trust that the divine plan isn't for me to be just in one relationship. Otherwise, I would have been, and it would have been easy. And if that's your path, then great. If not, then great. We don't have to all subscribe to the same ideology of societal expectation. Someone asks about Jeremy Garner. He's doing okay. He's doing great. His YouTube channel is active again. You can go watch it. Go subscribe. Dara says they regret 1 or 2 relationships. But you learn from them, and you won't be in those same situations again. Even if you don't feel like you learned from that person, which you probably did, you learned what not to do. These are all important information. And yeah, if you're in a relationship and someone doesn't want kids, I love that story too on the phone earlier on 1833 Unicult. Someone calls and says, I wanted kids, my boyfriend didn't, tried to date, didn't want to date, so I just had a kid on my own. You can do anything. There are kids that need to be adopted. There's sperm banks. There's all kinds of ways that you can be a parent if you want to be a parent. Is it better to try to trap somebody in a relationship with a kid and try to be in a monogamous relationship with somebody who doesn't want to be with you at all and get a kid from them? No, that's not going to be good for anybody. But to say, you know what, this is what I want, and then you just have a kid and you're a great parent, you did it. Someone says, you really leaned into all the way in on that topic. Yes. All right. Thank you all. Uni bless. We're going to ring the bell again. Cam Church is ending. The ending is the beginning. Spirit of Uni, we bless this Cam Church. We bless all people, past, present, future, who watch this beautiful stream. We bless all people who are going through breakups, who need guidance, who need love. Love yourself. Eat some chocolate if you need to. Cry if you need to. Dance if you need to. Smoke weed if you need to. You're going to be okay. Uni bless.